Tigers and last in the Southeastern Conference with a .263 batting average. Didn't look like that team yesterday, that's for sure. We'll see if they can keep it rolling against this guy. Cam Tilley getting the start today on this opening game for the Auburn Tigers. The sophomore out of Newburgh, Indiana, getting the ball, making his 5th start of the season.
Pretty interesting, Dave. You see 52 strikeouts in just 42 innings, so it's real swing and miss stuff, especially the splitter. That's the pitch to watch. Command has been an issue. How about 37 free passes, both through walks and hit by pitches? So when he's got his A+ command, he can run through a lineup.
Caden Kent to start things off. The Texas A&M shortstop on the year, hitting .279 with a dozen homers and 46 runs batted in, throwing 12 doubles. Fouls that one straight back.
Only 5 hits from left-handers versus Cam Tilley this year. That's a pretty wild number. Lefties hitting .083 against him.
That one stays up in the zone, 2-1. Tilley started each of the last 4 weekends. He's gone 1-1 in those starts. 16 innings pitched, an ERA of 5.4. 12 times has come out of the bullpen. And that is, we're seeing Cam Tilley in a nutshell right here in this opening batter.
That's what you get. I mean, he can spray it with the best of them. When he gets ahead, he can also make you swing and miss with the best of them. So it's really a work in progress, but they've continued to give him opportunities.
And there is a walk to start things off, and well, for Cam Tilley, that is his 26th walk in 42 innings now. Tilley kind of got bumped up to this role after a sluggish start at Tennessee and then a short week. They decided to throw him back out on a Thursday night. He's kind of just settled into that spot. But now he gets to face this guy, Jace Laviolette. Preseason Player of the Year. .259 on the season, 18 homers, 59 runs batted in for the junior out of Katy, Texas.
There's the first split finger of the ball game. Laviolette's year has been a little bit like the team. There's been some high highs and some low lows, and overall, probably you'd rate the performance underwhelming relative to the standard that he's set. I mean, he's still been some big moments, but just not as consistent as you would have thought here in his 3rd year starting.
He finished up the regular season in Athens against the Bulldogs, and it was one of those weekends where you just left scratching your head a little bit, as he is right behind Mississippi State's Hunter Hines for active leaders in home runs, but he went 0 for 10 with 9 strikeouts. And the one time he didn't strike out, he popped it up to the catcher. Now that one's off the fists. We'll do it again. And what I've noticed, and I've seen him a lot the last 2 weekends certainly, is he doesn't get in a lot of hitter counts. He is always chasing it at the plate.
Well, that's the anatomy of a slump. You feel like you walk up to bat 0-2. It's, you know, when you're red hot, you feel like you're either ahead in the count all the time with easy takes, or when you do get behind, the pitcher messes up. When you're struggling, it feels like every pitch a guy makes is perfect, like that. So think about it. Caden Kent had the easiest takes you'll ever have, right? You walk up there and it's a card fest, and this is just kind of the nature of the game. You get a great look at the split finger right there, and that one just disappears. Laviolette all the way down to a knee to try to at least fight that one off. But you know, Cam Tilley, that's the book with him, is when it's right, it's swing and miss stuff. When it's wrong, it's a ton of free passes, and Laviolette saw the best version right there.
Wyatt Hensler with 1 out steps up. He fouls that fastball straight back, 95 miles an hour. For the grad transfer out of Penn, his first year at Texas A&M. Had a great career at Penn, came in. Matter of fact, it was so good, D1 Baseball had him as a preseason second-team All-American this year. He was the Ivy League Player of the Year last year. .360, 22 home runs. Finished up 54 home runs. Set the Ivy League career home run record with those 54 bombs. Fouls this one straight back, out of play.
And it's been solid this year for the Aggies. I mean, you know, I would call it both offensively and defensively solid. One of the best hitters in the history of the Ivy League, and has come here to the SEC, and he's held his own. I mean, the average has been well above 300 pretty much all year long, and has done some damage as well.
Fouls that one off. Seems like Tilley has dialed it down a notch after watching a couple of pitches hit the backstop to Caden Kent, who stands at first base after a walk.
See him checking that card right there. So Auburn calls their own game. One of the few teams in major college baseball that does that. Clearly plenty of help, and he's got a scouting report there in his back pocket, but they let the battery call their own game. You see infielders a lot reference those cards, you know, the positioning cards, but I can't say I've seen a pitcher do that this year.
Breaking ball, got him. Back-to-back strikeouts.
It's impressive stuff now. I mean, it's a sharp breaking ball, a nasty split. And when it comes to swing and miss, he can get you on the heater as well. But the put away for the righties is often the breaking ball and the split to the left-handers.
So Gavin Cash now strolls up with 2 down. Gavin, a .233 hitter. Another transfer. He spent a year at Texas, then 2 years at Texas Tech before finding his way to College Station. Out of Sour Lake, Texas. 3 homers and 23 runs batted in.
41 home runs the last couple years at Texas Tech. They were, and he's dealt with some injuries here, but they were certainly hoping to see double-digit homers from Cash. He just hasn't been able to find a consistency in the production that we saw from a couple seasons with the Red Raiders.
93, and it's 1-2 again. This Auburn team finished up strong, 17 conference wins. Good enough for a 6th seed at this event. Top 10 in just about everybody's poll around the country. D1Baseball.com has them at number 7.
Number 1 in the RPI.
It's crazy. Georgia was right there. They fell a couple of spots to number 3 after losing yesterday. And a swing and a miss. And Cam Tilley, after the opening walk where he was all over the map, dials it in and goes strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. To the recruiting and obviously the preparation for those young men. Yeah,
they gambled on some freshmen and they hit, that's for sure. It's always nice to have a rock like Ike Irish in the middle. How about the numbers in road games, Dave? 433 with 12 and 21.
They're all kind of sick for him when you look at his numbers.
But that is insane. But it's an offense, and we hit it on it in the open, playing as well as anybody in this league in the month of May.
So Rembert, second-team All-SEC player, will lead off against this guy, Justin Lampkin, who's coming off perhaps the best start by any pitcher in the SEC this year in a win against Georgia. You see his overall numbers, making his 15th start. He has just been locked into that 2 spot for the Aggies. Yeah, coming in hot. He was fantastic, dominated Georgia last weekend. It's 3 quality pitches, a fastball that plays up that he loves to throw inside to righties, slider and a changeup as well. Used to big games, performed incredibly well for the Aggies last year down the stretch, helping them get to the College World Series finals. That one's up and away, ball 1. Lampkin in that last outing against Georgia. No 3-ball counts, none, 0. 3-hitter, complete game. 15 punchies. At Foley Field, which just doesn't happen very often. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I
I don't know, especially with the moment and the Aggies trying to save their season. Like, that's probably the start of the season in the league.
Rembert pops this one up, coming straight back.
Doyle, Anderson, Witherspoon have all had
Moments,
starts that you would put in that category, but 15 Ks, no 3-ball counts. CG on the road it's got my vote.
Chris Rembert got a lot of votes. He's second team All-SEC performer, all freshman team, 355, 10 homers, 40 runs batted in. Freshman out of Pensacola, Florida. Matter of fact, he's the first Auburn freshman to earn All-SEC first or second team honor since 2008. Swing and a miss. And Lampkin continues with his strikeout totals. Didn't take long to get his first one here today.
Yeah, fastball is a real swing and miss weapon for him, especially late in the can. Again, he loves to go to the glove side and just above the belt. So for right-handers, you know that. It speeds you up a little bit, that you know he's trying to crowd you. And oftentimes guys will chase that ball just above the belt. But Lampkin starts off where he finished last weekend.
Eric Guevara now hitting in the 2-hole. Guevara missed some time this year, had a bad hamstring, but since he's been back, he has been a difference maker, been locking down that third base spot and been swinging a really good bat. Member of the SEC's all defensive team, pops this one up on the right side. Kent says he has it, waves everybody off, or excuse me, Ben Royo has it, and that'll be 2 down. And here is the man we have highlighted, Ike Irish, who has been flying high in 2025. Across the board, 354, 16 homers, 52 runs batted in and 10 doubles. He too missed some time, got hit by a pitch and had to shut it down for about a week and a half, but since he has returned, it has been just crazy good numbers.
Yeah, the numbers in league play are right there at the top of the board. Him and Ace Reese were the most productive hitters week in and week out. Hey, now.
That is just foul.
And both of them finished incredibly strong. Irish has kind of led this offense with their May surge. And he is, the interesting thing about Irish, I think, is as we move into draft season here over the next few weeks, he can catch. Like, he was their opening day catcher, and you know, he's settled into right field, proven he can do that as well. It'll be interesting to see if the bat is so productive that pro ball doesn't even want to mess with him behind the plate from an injury standpoint, or if maybe he gets a chance to do that first in pro ball.
Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Well, I think the benefit of all this is that Auburn's used Chase Fralick behind the plate, another youngster, and has done a really solid job, which has been able to leave Irish out in right field and get your team a little bit more offensive.
Yeah,
in that regard.
Yeah, no doubt. Him not catching doesn't mean he can't catch. It's just their best lineup. The numbers against left-handers, as we see him here digging in against Lampkin, over 1,000 OPS versus lefties, 5 homers and 69 at bats, so plenty of damage.
Back up the middle, base hit. He now has a hit in 10 of his last 11 games.
Just really, really high bat to ball skills when you look at Irish, and not afraid to hit ugly. Doesn't always have to be a beauty contest. A slider here on a 3-2 count. Watch him get a little disconnected. Release the top hand just to keep that ball from going to the second baseman. And just kind of guide it back up the middle. A polished hitter move right there as he felt himself. And look at the juice again, man. You don't see a whole lot of power hitting right fielders make that hard of turns on singles up the middle.
Now here's Cooper McMurray. Cooper, the redshirt junior. Couple of years with the Auburn Tigers out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. the 23-year-old, hitting .333 on the year. He's got 14 home runs and a swing and a miss there. 1-1 the count. One and two.
It's not a huge power lineup when you look at Auburn. I would call it more of a complete offense, not super reliant on the long ball only. But McMurray and Irish, certainly the two scariest guys when you think about hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Combined for 30 home runs between the two of them. McMurray, one of those guys that they didn't know if they were going to get him back this year. Decided to make a return trip, and they're glad to have him with the numbers he has posted. Fouls that one.
Here's a stat you don't see very often. 2023, Cooper McMurray, 14 homers. 2024, Cooper McMurray, 14 homers. And in 2025, he's sitting on 14. So Coop's consistent would be the word from a power standpoint.
It's now full, 3-2. Just off the plate. And Auburn has him first and second.
Heck of an at bat right there. You talk about two veteran left-handers digging in, fighting, figuring out a way to win ABs. And Lampkin, who did not walk a hitter at all or have 3-ball counts.
Yeah.
Back-to-back 3-2 at bats that don't go his way, and now Lucas Steele has a chance to do some damage here.
The designated hitter. He's behind 0-1. Steele comes into this one hitting .280 with 7 homers. He's got 40 runs batted in. That one stays inside. High in the air. Out to center field. Jace Laviolette will make the catch, and that'll do it. Auburn will leave a couple of runners. We have played one scoreless here at the Met in Hoover, Alabama.
During the Butch Thompson era, it's been a...
That ball is popped up shallow center off the bat of Bear Harrison, who backpedals and will make the catch. 1 down.
But it's been a remarkable 10-year run. 2 times the Omaha regional hosts, consistently an NCAA tournament team. And, you know, there's just a steadiness about their coaching staff that you knew this program's just not going to stay down very long. They've just been too consistent over the last decade.
1 down for Cam Tilley as Hayden Schott comes to the plate for the first time today. Hayden Schott, the DH, .220 on the year, 4 homers and 34 runs batted in. As far as bounce back seasons go, I mean, this was a good one. Just 8 wins in the league last year.
Yeah.
Bump it up to 17.
No, it's one of the biggest turnarounds you'll ever see, and to do it with so many young, not new faces. We see that all the time in college sports, right? But freshmen in an era where you tend to think if you're going to make that kind of turnaround, it's going to be a ton of portal pieces. You look at Guevara is a piece that stayed at third base, a sophomore that's now playing at a very high level, and then the 3 freshmen. They've done it in-house.
Swing and a miss by Schott.
Cam Tilly, another development piece.
Yeah.
Right. And when you do it like that and it hits, now you set yourself up moving forward. You know, now you do have to replace Irish and McMurray, and that's certainly not easy to do, but a lot to like about the future of this program.
Called strike 3. 2 outs.
Hayden Schott didn't like it, but this one catches the upper outside part of the strike zone, a split that kind of floats up and away, and not traditionally where you go to punch somebody out with a split finger, but that one right on the top edge of the strike zone, and Schott goes looking.
Ben Royal, the second baseman. Boy, our home plate umpire, Brandon Cooper, catch his breath for a moment. By the way, this is what, my fifth game tournament. I will say this about our umpiring crew. I don't think we've had maybe 1 or 2 calls where you kind of go, ooh, that one missed.
No, umpiring crew's been fantastic. We've even gotten to hang out with them a little bit at the hotel, and they're just making sure their buddy's okay. Looks like a lot of laughs and smiles. But every year I feel like, you know, this league has umpires that are at the top of the sport. This year has been no different. We get a little double. Actually, that went glove, mask, mask.
Yeah.
Hopefully that slowed it down a little bit.
Chase Fralick doing the catching for Auburn, and Brandon Cooper calling the balls and strikes. David Savage, J.J. January, and Clint Fagan, our crew. That one's popped up. Going to stay in the infield area. Chris Rimbert has it, and boy, what a clean inning it was for Cam Tilly, the sophomore. Going to the bottom of the second here at Hoover, Alabama. Back in Omaha, had a struggle, but then had some really impressive series wins. Tennessee, Arkansas, and LSU. 2 of those 3 were on the road. And then, of course, the sweep by Missouri just kind of brought them back to a place they didn't want to sit, but that's where they are. And now the story is, after losing 2 of 3 in Athens last weekend, people feel like they got to at least get to the championship game, probably win it all. Off the bat of Eric Snow to start the bottom of the second. Get out of Chris.
Well, in terms of needing to make it to Sunday and what's ahead of them, I talked with Jay Slavolette before the game of how do you handle the pressure. And he said, well, we just take the advice of our head coach, and that's we're going to play until someone says we can no longer play. But as one of the vocal leaders on that team, I've tried to tell our guys, we need to just remember this could be one of our last games playing together as a team. So while there is this pressure, try and enjoy the moment as much as you can, because you don't get this entire team back.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things you could dwell on, but what you have is today, right? And you have a puncher's chance. Nobody plays early in this tournament, wins it, but nobody also has the resume and the high-end talent that this team does that would play that early. So it is interesting. It's probably, if you were doing percentages to make it to Sunday from a team that starts on Tuesday, they would probably have the highest that you could ever have because of the nature of their roster. But it really is a puzzling. There's a lot of things you could add context to why their season's gone the way it went, but the Missouri series just didn't make any sense.
Bub Terrell, another one of these outstanding freshmen. Interesting Bub's in the lineup today. Not really good against lefties, but because of this field and the big ballpark, Butch Thompson feels like Bub's the kind of guy you want out there defensively in that outfield.
Yeah, a lot of things to balance when you're putting together a lineup. Ballpark, pitcher, your guys, how's everybody feeling? But ultimately, these coaching staffs get together and they prioritize what do we think matters the most. And they decided that outfield defense was right at the top of that list.
Ranked as the top outfield prospect in the state of Alabama. That's up and in. Now it's full 3-2. Well, we've already had three ball counts after none just a week ago from Justin Lampkin.
Originally committed to a junior college, really came on late his senior year, and Auburn decided to give him a crack, and boy, are they happy they did. He has really turned into a nice prospect, and one that was literally 18 months ago wasn't even on their radar.
He jumped on some big league scouts radar too, because they plucked him in the 19th round. The Blue Jays wanted to take a chance, but he turned that down and came to Auburn. Here's a ground ball. Could be two. There's the turn at second by Royo. That'll help things out.
Yeah, nicely done right there. I kind of thought Kent was going to take that one himself. Yeah. And it just shows you the trust he has in Royo, because this is that awkward. You have to really be touchy with that feed, because you don't want to lock your second baseman up. And Royo showing you a nice turn as his momentum was really taking him towards left field, and he finished that one easy.
Now it's Chase Fralick. Nobody on and 2 outs. Chase hitting .344. Remember the SEC's all-freshman team with those 4 homers and 39 runs batted in.
We talked about Terrell being an interesting story. Fralick might be the most interesting story of all the freshmen. A world-class tennis player, top 20 in his class, like a legit SEC D1 tennis player.
Ground ball over to third. Hensler over to Gavin Cash, and that'll do it. The double play certainly helps Justin Lampkin and company. 2 scoreless.
Bucket list for any baseball fan, but especially a college baseball fan. Come here to the Hoover Met the week of the SEC baseball tournament. We got another great crowd here.
Dave Neal, Chris Burke, Chris Budd, glad you could join us. First of 3 coming your way today. We've got Tennessee and Texas next on the docket after this one is finished. Here's Terrence Keel, a freshman from Atlanta, coming close to home, a couple hours away out of Pace Academy in Atlanta. And he has been a real find for the Aggies. They have just anchored him in the outfield, and he has not given up that job, and that's part of the reason why, because he does things like that, hitting over 300 in his freshman campaign.
Nice start right there. Nobody's really been able to barrel up Mr. Tilley yet. A breaking ball that just hanging in the middle of the plate. Keel keeps his nose down and rifles it into left field. Aggies needed a little something to get going after not much action here since the leadoff walk of the ball game, and now a leadoff base runner here. I would expect to see a little baseball here, maybe a little drag bunt, maybe something here from Sawyer Farr.
Sawyer Farr, the 9-hole hitter, 2 for 4 yesterday. How about the back end of this Aggie lineup yesterday in the win over Mississippi State? Those guys go 6 for 12. The front end went 4 for 20. Sawyer Farr hitting .188, trying to lay the bunt down.
Well, Guevara is definitely ready for it. You see how shallow he's playing over there at third base. Auburn clearly set up in a bunt defense look. See if Early keeps it on after going to it the first two pitches of this at bat.
Farr does have 1 sacrifice this year. That one hit him in the foot. I believe so. Squared up to bunt, caught him on that back leg, and he'll end up at first base with nobody out. 2 on now.
Well, that'll drive you nuts if you're Butch Thompson. They're giving you an out, and you not only get the runner over for them, but you give them a free base runner. So now third.
The lineup, Caden Kent, who walked to start this game when Tilley was kind of all over the map in that first at bat. Of course, dialed it back in. And starts Kent off with 1 up and away. Kent now in his 3rd year with the Aggies, the junior out of Austin, Texas. He's a guy that you thought would be one of those 340, 350 type hitters this year after a season last year where he hit 327. But he's been hovering around that 280 mark.
He's been really solid. You know, I think the quality of his at-bats probably a little better than the numbers would indicate. He's shown much more juice this year with the 12 home runs, and I've been very impressed by the way he's played shortstop. I think it wouldn't surprise me if we looked up 4 years from now and Caden Kent was on somebody's roster in the big leagues playing in a utility role. I think he can play anywhere in the infield. And again, it's just a high at-bat quality. A perfect kind of guy, and anybody I think would want on their roster. I'm not saying he couldn't start, but definitely to be there and perform admirably in some sort of utility role. I think he's really positioned himself to be that kind of guy.
Blisters this one out to right. Ike Irish on the run. It is out of here. Caden Kent showing you some of that power. 13th home run of the year, and it's 3-0 Texas A&M.
Well, that escalated quickly, did it not, Dave? Cam Tilley is just cruising, hangs a breaking ball to Terrence Keel, gets wild as they're trying to give him an out on the bunt, and now we're celebrating the Masters with the green jacket. And Caden Kent's holding out a putt. The Aggies are all giggles in the dugout right now.
Just for a second, I thought that was Scotty Scheffler. Boy, now things are getting busy for Auburn down in that bullpen, and there's a happy dad right there. Jeff Kent, one of the greatest offensive second baseman.
Well, certainly one of them.
337 career homers, the most by any second baseman in big league history. Just watched his son go yard here in the tournament.
He looked super happy, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was happy. If you don't know him, that was happy. Yep.
You know him.
A little bit, a very little bit, but yes. He's got to be super proud of the way his boys played this year. Finally getting a chance to run out there every day, and what a moment that was right there. Little hanging split finger gets launched.
Jace Laviolette popped up and caught at third base. That'll be one down. They had a shift on, so Guevara had to run quite a bit to get that one.
Here you go, hanging split, and it actually has some depth to it. I mean, that ball's going to finish below the zone, but the ability to get in your legs, get down in your legs, and get the sweet spot to a pitch that is very difficult to elevate. That is a premium piece of hitting right there by Caden Kent.
Wyatt Hensler now with one out. I just love the shot of his dad. Just kind of chilling. Ho-hum. Three-run homer here in the SEC tournament. No big deal. Now, of course, Caden Kent last year in the College World Series, though, went crazy. He was 10 for 24 with a home run and 7 RBIs in Omaha last year.
He was a catalyst, and really only started playing because Braden Montgomery went down. So he was one of the biggest reasons offensively that they were able to advance as far as they made it, which was just a few plays away from winning the whole thing. Caden's like, yeah, see, Jace, all you got to do is just stay down a little bit longer. Let it get a little deeper. You can launch one out in the seats, too.
Swing and a miss.
I'm telling you, this Aggies team is very, very dangerous. We've seen it all year long. And all they need is a little momentum. They certainly have it here early in this week.
There's a strikeout out number 2, and Hensler heading back to the dugout. Gavin Cash struck out to end the first inning, his first time up against Cam Tilley, who already has 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, the swing and miss stuff is as good as advertised with Tilley, Dave.
just wonder what this might look like next year. You see the progress he made from last year. I mean, pretty much any pitcher that returned from last year is so much better than they were a year ago. They had all kinds of issues throwing strikes last season. Probably their biggest downfall was the fact they couldn't pitch it very well. Butch Thompson and company got back to work and dialed some guys in. That one's up and away.
Yeah, I mean, again, the development from within the program, and then obviously you got to add some pieces.
Samuel
Dutton, Fisher, they've brought in some pieces that have helped. But I'm truly impressed by the way Auburn has developed the roster. Samuel Dutton, one of the most valuable pitchers in this conference. To take a guy that was kind of hiding in LSU's bullpen and then run him out there day one of pretty much every conference series. He was certainly one of the MVPs of this team.
That one's up and away. It is now 3-2. A&M has had 9 swing and misses against Cam Tilley today.
I like when the scouting report looks good.
Yes.
It makes me happy.
Yeah. Didn't miss that one, but pulls it foul.
Well, the numbers don't lie. I mean, pretty much every pitch he has is well above Division I averages. So, and the stats, obviously striking out more than 1 an inning. So he clearly has the potential to be a dominant kind of guy when his command is on.
Another one that's laced foul.
There's a hanging split he got away with right there. And Gavin Cash just a little jumpy. And anytime you're that far out in front, you'd think if he can just bounce a split, you'd think you'd get a chase here.
How about some high heat instead?
That works.
93 miles an hour. But a big inning, Caden Kent.
Gotta have your stars show up in big moments. Caden Kent with a 3-run bomb. Aggies off to a good start.
Welcome back to Hoover, joined with head coach Butch Thompson of Auburn. Coach, we talked about Cam and the need to throw strikes. 6 strikeouts, but he does give up the home run. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, you know, they got leadoff man 2 of the 3 innings, and in the first he did an amazing job. His stuff is set. It's just keeping his delivery on time. It looks like a couple off-speed pitches, one inside to a righty, and then one that got lost. So, you know, we're running back out there, and we'll have some lefties ready to come in. But just him settling, if that's the moment, but that's Texas A&M baseball, is to build to that 3-run homer.
Rare in college baseball to have the success that you guys have with 3 freshmen in the lineup. What's impressed you the most about them in this first season?
Well, we knew they were strong enough and talented enough, but I think I give credit to Ike Irish, Cooper McMurray, Derek Fabian being good older guys that are leaders that have helped them navigate the SEC for the first time they've been on the road and the first time they've played at this level.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys.
He's got to navigate the SEC. We got to navigate the FCC. Here's Bristol Carter way out in front. Bristol Carter hits 9th in this lineup. .244, couple of homers. Another youngster out of Oak Ridge. Out in center field. Lifts that one up out of play. Lampkin, by the way, now 13 1/3 scoreless. And he has been around the zone. 6 of 9 first pitch strikes today. Had to work a little bit in that first inning. Got a nice double play ball in the second. Sped up that frame, and a strikeout here to start the bottom of the 3rd.
Loves to live to that glove side, away to lefties into righties, and that is just shoving it under the hands of a right-handed hitter. A paint piece from Lampkin, and a nice start here after your offense gives you 3 runs in the top half of the 3rd.
Couple of strikeouts now for Lampkin as the lineup flips back to Chris Rembert. He pops this one up. And that one will get over the net into the seats. Rembert struck out to begin this game. A freshman out of Pensacola, Florida. He was ranked in the top 125 of high school players coming out And considered the 4th best shortstop in the state of Florida last year. Rembert at 353 now. You heard Butch Thompson telling Chris a minute ago, part of the reason that these freshmen have been able to hold up is that they physically were ready to play.
Yeah, a big part of it, being able to actually provide impact at this level as a 19-year-old. Not easy to do.
Terrence Keel out there and right. Another freshman. Terrence, also an infielder, and anxious to see what they do with him in the offseason. Do they bring him into the dirt, or do they keep him in the outfield?
There's a lot of questions about this Aggie roster going into the offseason, but yeah, capable certainly athletically of doing a lot of different things. Going back to the physicality of Rembert, how about 1,100 OPS as a true freshman in this league? Hit 376 with 6 homers in SEC games only, and that's very, very rare. It's one thing to start and be productive. It's another thing to give that much damage.
Speaking of damage, Guevara tries to damage that baseball, but not enough on it. Caught out there and left by Sawyer Farr. And that'll do it for Auburn through 3. The Aggies up by 3. Leading Auburn 3-0 as we move to the 4th inning here at Hoover Metropolitan Stadium. A couple home runs, one yesterday by Laviolette, one by Kent today. Very similar swings.
Yeah, look at both of their back knees. So both of them, I think Laviolette's, I think they were both on splits actually. Yeah. Both of their back knees almost get all the way to the ground, and that's a move a hitter will make to not only get to a pitch that's low, but there's also a piece of that where you're putting on the brakes. And so the more you engage your legs, you can stop your momentum when you realize the pitch that you're swinging at is decelerating, right? Some sort of change-up curveball.
We're putting the flaps down.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit like putting the flaps down. It slows you down. It gets you down to the plane of the pitch, and then you're able to elevate it, right? And so, you know, sometimes people get in their feelings when they hear the word elevate the ball. But when the pitch design is to drop, your job as a hitter is to try to not swing over the top of it. So when pitchers throw you change-ups, curveballs, splits, they're trying to get you to swing over the top of the ball. Your job as a hitter is to try to get down to the flight of the ball. Now, in a perfect world, you take every ball, but unfortunately, hitting is an imperfect deal. And so you got to be able to make hitter moves when you're fooled.
Ooh, that one is off the helmet to Bear Harrison. And that is the second hit batter today by Cam Tilley, and that'll get the leadoff guy on again for Texas A&M.
Just a scatter fastball that is, Coach, I'd love to wait back. The problem was I didn't realize what it was until I was mid-swing. So understanding that's how hard hitting is, the only way to be able to hit some of those pitches once you're fooled is you got to have some different moves in your bag. And good look there by you, Dave, to slow those down. Nice job by the truck. And show us a couple hitter moves by these Aggie sluggers.
Well, that ball, both those, the thing that stood out to me is both those pitches, those home runs, the ball was down and away.
They're balls.
And they were able to get the bat enough and pull them the other way.
And that move into your back knee, it slows you down a little bit. It gets you down to the plane of the pitch, but it also gives you some reach and some coverage to be able to hit pitches that are, let's call them what they are. They're not strikes, right? That's why it's not a normal move.
So if you're Cam Tilley, you're like, man, that was a good pitch. I mean,
to Caden Kent, you're like, hey, man, that's a good pitch. But, you know, Caden Kent's on scholarship, too. Sometimes those guys win.
So Auburn, we heard Butch Thompson telling Chris a little while ago that they would have a couple lefties ready to go, and the day is over for Cam Tilley. We will update the change when we come back to Hoover, Alabama. Cam Tilley finishes with 3 innings of work, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk with a 3-run homer. The difference in this game, there are plenty of times where you go, wow, that's impressive, and there are a few times you go, you've got to dial that thing in. But we'll see how that plays out in the postseason and next year. Now Carson Myers, 20th appearance of the year for the senior out of Bowling Green, Kentucky, a transfer into the Auburn program from UAB.
Son of Matt Myers, one of my old coaches at the University of Tennessee. Of course, Matt Myers been a longtime coach in college and professional baseball. His son Carson having a heck of a year. How about 50 Ks in just 39 2/3 innings? So it's been one of their best relievers. And he gets a chance here to kind of stabilize the middle of this ball game, hopefully keep this Aggie offense down and give his offense a chance to make a run.
Myers was a starter last year. Had 8 starts on the mound in his 14 appearances. I would love for him to chew up some innings. There's the bunt by Schott. It's a good one. Myers quickly off the mound, throw to first in time. Nice play by Myers just to get that out. A heck of a bump. Boy, he really deadened that one, did Schott.
Well, Hayden Schott is, how should we say, not going to win any track meets. Like, this is not, any foot race. Like, but he gave literally everything he had to try to leg that out. You want a picture of what the Aggies are trying to do here at the SEC tournament. It's Hayden Schott just gutting it out down the line. He's got a couple bum knees, but Carson Myers, look, they're having a giggle about it, but Carson Myers with a heck of a play there to barehand that one and turn and fire.
Now it's been Royo. Myers 92 miles an hour to Royo. You know, it's interesting, this single elimination event. This is where things get interesting. You fall behind. What do you do with your pitching staff? It's one and done, so it's like that game, that inner game that Butch Thompson and his staff, Everett Tiford, Gabe Gross, are going to have to play, right?
Right, and I think different than maybe sometimes what you would do in a 3-game series. If you were down 3-0 in the 4th, you might not go to one of your best arms, but here you want to get all your best arms out there. And like you said, if you lose, you go home. So you need to fire all your best bullets to try to keep your offense in the game.
Win today, worry about tomorrow.
That's
right?
That's right.
One and 2 the count to Royo. He popped up his last time. That one's fouled straight back. Royo transferred in from Rice. His first year at Texas A&M out of Corpus Christi, Texas. He's been kind of a nice find for Texas A&M. Only played, well, started 12 games last year at Rice. Hit under 200. Started a bunch, though, as a freshman at Rice. And hit 260.
13 homers.
Yeah.
Had a nice year as a freshman. And last year went sideways on him and really showed up as a walk-on. They didn't know if he was going to contribute at all, but because of injuries and because of the way the season unfolded, he got a shot and has done a really nice job for him.
Yeah, 10 homers on the year. Swing and a miss. That'll be out number 2.
Carson Myers, interestingly enough, actually has better splits versus right-handers. A little backdoor breaking ball right there, trying to bury it down and in, and actually ends up painting it on the outside corner. Royo goes fishing. Myers with the second out.
Here's Terrence Keel, singled his last time up. Of course, that was against Cam Tilley. Keel got things started off right. He was the SEC Freshman of the Week, the opening week of the season.
Yeah, he was rolling early. We talked about Rembert and the impact he's made in league play. For Keel, it's been more of a typical freshman in league play. It's the batting average has steadily kind of worked backwards, and there hasn't been a ton of extra base hits. He has hit some doubles, and there's clearly signs of a kid who could play at the top of the league and certainly be a top of the order kind of bat.
He does have 18 multi-hit games.
Can I address for the people at home that are thinking that Terrence Keel's looking at the catcher? I got some tweets and texts about this yesterday. The hitters are looking at the pitch clock. So, like, I know it's awkward to see when a hitter looks backwards while he's up to bat, but that pitch clock there, folks, in the left of your screen, hitters have till 8 seconds to be able to engage the pitcher. So some of them will sit there and almost mess with the pitcher and stare at it till they get to 10 or 9 seconds on the clock before they actually look at the pitcher.
Three and two on Keel. That is strike three, and the inning is over. Hey, when we come back, Chris Budden's going to...
What have you seen out of the mentality of your guys this week as you try and still make the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing with pressure for a long time, and that's because of the situation we put ourselves in. So it feels much like it did, a month and a half ago. So we're used to this feeling, and I think as much as you don't want to have that feeling, you kind of get used to it.
I appreciate the time. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys?
That's true. I mean, every game they've played for the last 6 weeks feels like almost a must-win for them.
Oh, yeah. Well, they dug themselves out of a 1-9 hole. And they swept Tennessee on that day with a doubleheader.
Yep.
And then they started rolling, and everybody thought, okay, the Aggies are back. And really, even right up until the Missouri series, it did look like they were safely in the field. And then kind of the unthinkable happened, and now they're left scrambling.
They get no hit at Tennessee, and then win a doubleheader the next day. And then they just went a month of great baseball, like the baseball we thought.
Right, and then, they got swept at Texas, but it was all one-run losses where they had the tying run on base. Then they beat LSU in a series, and you're thinking they're rolling.
And then really just, I think anybody that's followed this league knows the deficiencies of Missouri baseball right now. Carrick Jackson trying to figure that out. By the way, they announced that he's going to come back for sure for next year, do another season, and good for them.
Yes.
Everybody
respects Carrick.
Yeah, he's all in on this to fix this. But to get swept at home, that's painful.
Well, and the way it went down, you blew a 9th inning lead, and then the next 2 days, you scored 2 runs total.
Yeah.
I think they had 4 hits in those 2 games, so it's just a scene that nobody saw unfolding. And the problem there is this RPI. Like, that's your problem right there. When you look at where the Aggies are at, the metrics, are, you can sometimes pick a stat or whatever, but no SEC team gets in with an RPI above 50, and unless there's a lot of conference wins, which if that was the case, your RPI wouldn't be above 50, right? So that's why they put themselves in a situation where they're probably going to have to win this thing.
Lampkin gets the strikeout of Ike Irish, and now Cooper McMurray's behind 0-2. McMurray walked his first time up. That one's down in the dirt. I saw Cooper McMurray looking at that bat, looking at the barrel of the bat just a minute ago. It reminds me, I've had LSU a bunch this year, and we watched Jared Jones, the awesome first baseman for the Tigers. He walks up to the plate. He's talking to his bat, and I finally had a chance last weekend to talk to him. He's saying the Hail Mary to his bat on the way into the batter's box.
Hail Mary to his bat, okay.
Yeah. Did you talk to your bat ever?
Not to my bat, no.
Did you just talk to yourself?
Yes,
right.
A lot. Some not nice things to myself were said.
Well, this has stuck with me. We've been doing this a long time now. It stuck with me. From the time you walk from the on-deck circle to the batter's box, you better convince yourself you're the best hitter in the ballpark.
That's right. If you can't convince yourself from the on-deck circle to the batter's box that you're dangerous, give somebody else your bat. Like that's it. And another breaking ball as Lampkin lost the at-bats to McMurray and Irish first 2 times around, but has won the battles the second go. But I think a huge piece of being a good athlete, no matter what sport you're involved in, is how you talk to yourself. And that's not always like rosy and flowery. Like sometimes you go, hey bro, you know, quit being a knucklehead and chasing pitches in the dirt. Like,
right.
Lock in. You know, sometimes you got to have a little meeting with yourself. Sometimes your coaches do that for you. But sometimes you got to do it to yourself.
So do you ever tell a coach, no, coach, I've already had that
That's
discussion.
right.
I'm good. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I like to tell my dad, he was tough enough on me at a young age that then his voice became my internal monologue.
Right.
So then every coach I ever had after that really couldn't spook me.
I got you. Here's Lucas Steele. He hammers that one foul. That'll be a souvenir for the boys on the hill. It's all about positioning yourself. No, he's like, no, I'm not giving that up. Are you kidding me?
Sunglasses probably could help him if he put them on.
Saw that yesterday. Sunny day, don't wear them on your head.
I think hat companies should start selling hats that the glasses are glued to, because that's really what we do now, right? We really don't wear them. We just put them on our hat. Okay, my man's got them on, but no hat. He's got no hat to put them on, you know.
2-2 to Steele.
Good takes. Back-to-back glove side heaters. Oh man, he's texting his homies. Caught a ball. Maybe we got a little selfie there. Maybe. How do my glasses look on my hat?
You're right.
Yep,
that's it. How my glasses looking? Yeah.
Yep.
Steele on a 3-2 pitch, gloved out there at second by Royo. Nice play by Ben Royo. And Justin Lampkin continues to roll along. The Aggies lead at 3-0.
Ben Royo, rangier than your average second baseman. He can go get it some length, some athleticism, climb the ladder, young man.
5 minutes when we are finished with this one. The story of this one has been Justin Lampkin and Caden Kent. Lampkin on the mound has been fantastic, and Caden Kent with a 3-run homer back in the 3rd inning. We will see Kent this inning as Sawyer Farr leads things off, and then it'll be Kent and Laviolette. Farr was hit by a pitch while trying to square up and bunt, which set up the 3-run homer for Caden Kent. Carson Myers in relief of Cam Tilley. Myers win an inning, couple of strikeouts, and looked really sharp last frame for the Auburn Tigers. Popped up that bunt straight back.
I called Carson Myers. So his dad Matt used to be the head coach of West Kentucky. Okay, so that's why they're in Bowling Green. When he was in Little League, he was on Bowling Green East. Also, Devin Obie, who plays for Georgia, was on that team. I called them in the Midwest Regional.
And here they are now.
And now here he is. That's right. And his dad, Matt, had such a good pickoff move. He could tell you he was picking you off, and he'd still
get you.
Yep.
Well, they had him played well. Rembert over to first. 1 out. Here's Caden Kent, what he did last time.
Well, we talked about it quite a bit, but what he did was go down and get a split and not only barrel it up, but the juice to run it out of here into the right center field gap. That was a loud swing of the bat there by the Aggie shortstop. And right now, the difference in the ball game.
Big swing from Kent, fouls that one away. Of course, talk about Carson's dad, Matt. Played at Tennessee with the Big Orange. 96 to 97. When did you get there? When did you get?
So I was there in the fall of 98. My first real season was 99. So Matt was still there as a GA. So when we were short on pitchers for inter-squads, Matt would still pitch sometimes. Now, you don't see that every day. Got to make Carson Myers feel pretty good. Just shattered an aluminum bat. Not an everyday occurrence in college baseball. Two-seamer just boring in on his hands and broke on the follow-through. At least it came apart on the follow through. That's a weird feeling if you're Caden Kent. And that's a bet he just went deep with. Like, you don't usually have to deal with that.
Forgot. Yeah, that's going to sting.
Pro ball, you learn to just handle that, like it's just part of it. That usually you get a college bat, that one will keep a while.
Is that a smile? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Ooh, did that hit Laviolette in the hand? Apparently it did.
Well, if it didn't, he sure is selling it good. I think it did.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, he's clearly, that was a finger? Grabbing that left hand. Yeah, like the knuckle. It hit like the knuckles of his left hand. And that is his hand just shaking. Well, it looks like we're having a conversation now. I mean, he clearly doesn't even want to use his left hand. He just took his batting glove off with his mouth, yet it looks like he's going to run. That'll be tough. I mean, obviously that's his top hand as a hitter, his throwing hand.
Butch Thompson coming out. I think that he thinks there was a swing there. And I think that's what Butch is asking about. Did he not? Jason clearly knows he was hitting a hand. Man, that is just
Ball caught him dead on the knuckles. Question it, yeah, I guess Butch Thompson wants to know if the bat went too far. I don't know if they appealed it or not.
Well, he's at first base. We know that. And in some pain. I don't think Jace is going anywhere.
No.
He's like, I can't go.
Yeah,
he just said, I can't go.
Yeah. Just said, I can't run. So Aggies are going to have to make a move here.
That is, see a little tap from Cooper McMurray. I mean, gosh, you just hate to see this. It has been a tough year already for Jace. And if it ends like this, that's just. That's a shame.
Jamal George will enter the game for the Aggies. And let's just hope Jace is okay, because that he's clearly in a ton of pain.
So Jamal George enters the game over at first base. A 1-0 count to Hensler. I mean, obviously it's not as bad as what happened last year, but similar. Braden Montgomery late in the year last year goes down for an injury. A&M able to overcome that, ride the wave to the championship series. But boy, losing a couple of star players back-to-back years at the end of the season.
Well, you never know, right? We'll see where that injury goes. But when you're coming out of the game, that's always a major concern. Now the Aggies got to figure out what they're going to do in center field too. because as much as Lavallette's had an up and down offensive year, he's been very good defensively out there in center field. And in a ballpark like this, that's not easy to replace.
Michael Early just, are you kidding me? On a check swing. Hensler today 0 for 2. The 3-hole hitter with back-to-back strikeouts. Two down in the inning now. Runner goes. This one's lifted back out of play.
I like it, Yamal. Come in hot. Trying to swipe a bag there off a lefty in a 2-1 count. He had that base stolen too, but of course Hensler pulled the trigger on a fastball up in the zone.
So what you seen of this pickoff move? You talked about Carson Meyer's dad, Matt, with the great pickoff moves. Carson got one similar?
I have not seen that version.
Okay.
No, and it would be like Andy Pettit, Matt Myers is like my 1-2 pickoff moves I've ever seen.
That ball's laced but foul.
Pettit could pick you off taking your secondary too. Like guys would just sit there and stare at him, not stealing, just shuffling to get their secondary break and the ball's at first base. He'd pull it out about 3 times a game.
Again, pulled foul.
Just not quite getting that breaking ball down enough, and he's actually gotten away with those last two. Both of those were pitches that Hensler could have done damage on, but just unable to keep them fair. I think that was his A move. Seemed like George was all over it.
Swing and a miss, and the inning is over. So the hit batter goes for naught. We will certainly try to get an update on Jace Laviolette, who had to leave this one after being hit in the hand with a pitch. As Laviolette, who was and has been the Aggies center fielder, is no longer participating today, and certainly we will try to get an update on that situation as soon as we get some information. So it's 3-0 A&M, though they do lose Laviolette, but with a 3-run advantage. Eric Snow to start things off for Auburn. 39 strikes and 60 pitches for Lampkin. This one's over the plate. Uh-oh. Eric Snow with his 7th home run of the year.
Well, that'll wake the dugout up. Oh. We know Lampkin loves to try to run the fastball and the slider in under the hands of right-handed hitters, and that's a cement mixer that gets absolutely launched over the left field wall. Oh, I like that. That was cool now. Hit it and just nose down. Like, no reason to watch. I know where that one ended up, which was almost the parking lot.
That is 20 home runs in the last 8 games for this Auburn offense.
Well, this was, kind of the tale of which was going to win out, Justin Lampkin, who came in red hot, or this Auburn offense who came in red hot. So far, Lampkin's won the battle, but maybe the Tigers are about to flip the script.
And that ended Lampkin's scoreless streak at 15 1/3.
Pretty good run.
Yes.
That's a pretty good run.
1 and 2 on Bub Terrell. Yeah, he's pointing out where it hit. Bub Terrell with 5 home runs. I would think Bub Terrell's numbers will be double figures moving forward.
You mean homers?
Yes.
Yeah. He certainly projects to be a young man that's going to be able to impact the ball at a high level.
Didn't impact it there as he swings and misses for out number 1. Chase Fralick now strolling to the plate. Boy, you know, body language to me in baseball, I think it's an important aspect of the game. Lampkin gives up that home run, comes back, does that. Hasn't changed demeanor one bit.
No. He's a cool character. This young man, right? We learned a ton about him down the stretch last year. The way he just kept taking the ball and answering the moment for the Aggies through the stretch run of the postseason last year. You learned everything you needed to know about his ability to control his heartbeat and perform at his best when his best was required. And he's doing it again here down the stretch for the Aggies this year.
Fralick 0 for 1, 342 on the year, and pulls a string on that one. 84 miles an hour. Just saw Texas rolling into the fields behind Hoover Met. Get some BP in. Tennessee and Texas coming up 30 minutes, 35 minutes roughly after we finish this one. Texas, your SEC regular season champs in year number 1 in this conference. Tennessee fans waiting. Big day for the Vols yesterday. Boy, did they hit some missiles yesterday. I don't know that I have seen a team square up as many baseballs as the Vols did yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, that was a ball striking display by the Volunteers.
And we get to see Liam Doyle.
Yeah, and that's worth the price of admission right there. I think there'll be a little more orange than burnt orange in the building today. Long trip from Austin, but I'm sure there's plenty of Longhorn alums in the Birmingham area.
I think there are Longhorn alums in every metropolitan area in this country. They seem to be everywhere. Fralick out 4-3.
There you go. There's some burnt orange. I'm going to put you on the spot next game and ask you which tee you like better. There's subtle differences. I don't know if you know.
The
differences to the logo.
I can tell you right now, the tea that I drink is brewed in Texas.
So you like their tea logo better just because of that?
No, I'm talking about tea.
Right there. There you
I'm
go.
talking about tea. My iced tea. I know. I'm trying to stay out of that.
Okay, you're not going there.
I'm not even going to go there.
But you got till next broadcast. Next broadcast, you're going to have to give me an answer.
Oh my gosh.
Which tea do you like better? There's real differences there.
I love them both. I'll think about it.
Okay. I need to ask some of my Longhorn buddies. Like, the Tennessee tea is called the Power Tea.
Right.
Does Texas have a name for their tea?
The Texas tea.
Are you just guessing?
Yeah, I'm just putting that out there. Sounded good, though. There is nothing really before a big game watching the Volunteer football team run through the Power T at Neyland Stadium in front of 105,000.
I feel like I would have heard if the Texas team was named something. We'll find out. I'll do some legwork on that.
Michigan's Block M.
Yeah, that's right. I obviously have to recuse myself from that debate.
Yeah.
I'm a little biased.
Yeah. Just throw me out there.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the hook.
Yeah.
We'll take a poll. Maybe Chris can chime in. KB, she'll get a vote. She might be a little biased too.
So Freilich, or excuse me, Bristol Carter over there at first. Chris Rembert steps up.
Slightly biased with some home family that has worn the orange as well. The question was when Texas joined, who then becomes the real UT? Do we call them both UT?
Oh, we got a pickoff, Chris. And that will get Texas A&M off the field. So Bristol Carter picked off by Lampkin. And the Aggies heading back to the dugout. We will continue to talk about the power T and the UT, but Eric Snow putting this Auburn team on the board.
Players be like, guys, we are still winning, trying to get the mentality and the emotions on a much more positive level after that happened.
Gavin Cash to lead things off. Burke, you've been in that dugout when big-time players, guys, leaders have obviously left the game for various reasons. I mean, what does it do to a team when you see your star, your dude, leave like that?
Yeah, well, we talked about it yesterday when their star hit a grand slam, how it fires them up. And then you see your star have to leave the game with an injury that's clearly significant. You know, you hope it's not too long, but, I mean, he was in some serious pain. So that can definitely kill the vibes, and they've got some great vibes going here early in this tournament. And you know, the truth is, in competitive sports, injuries happen, and it's a sad part of the sport, but part of being an athlete is you have to be able to regroup and recalibrate after an injury.
Cash pops it up. Guevara in foul territory makes the catch.
Way to have your sunglasses on, Eric. Well done.
And made the catch.
Fantastic job. Is there any science behind the eye black? Like, is that a real thing, or is that just for look?
No, I mean, I think it's a real thing.
It helps with the glare?
Yeah.
Like, you've read the reports on that?
And well, I speak from experience.
Okay.
I have light skin underneath my eyes, and the eye black diminishes some of the reflection off my light skin from the sun.
Okay. So percentages of kids that wear eye black because it helps with the sun.
10%.
Oh, you think it's 10?
You think it's less?
Oh, way less.
Okay.
Maybe 0. Now, it originated because it was supposed to help, right? That was the point?
Right.
Okay. I wore it one time in my life, and it ended up all over my uniform. So I never wore it again. It was a mess. I don't know if it's better now, but it is definitely part of the uniform now, like at every level. If you go to an 8U tournament, it's like part of the pregame ritual to eye black it up.
I will say the sunglasses with the eye black might be overkill.
Okay. But if we're going into overkill on the modern drip, then like it's a long list, right? So at this point, we just have to celebrate it, accept it.
Yeah.
I mean,
go with it.
Yeah. Cross is a cool look. That's kind of classic by Cooper McMurray. More just straight line. Snow's no glasses or eye black, so apparently the sun doesn't bother him.
Out to left center. Carter will watch it bounce right in front of him. And a base knock for Bear Harrison. Third hit of the day for Texas A&M. Just 6 hits total today.
Much offense from either club, and you got to tip your cap to the pitching staffs on both sides. Of course, Lampkin's just continuing his hot streak, but Myers has been fantastic since entering this ball game.
Here's Hayden shot 0 for 1. Hayden 218 on the year. That one misses down and in. Shot the grad student, a transfer from Columbia. Second year at A&M now. Actually started at Cypress College. Then went to Columbia at Newport Beach, California.
I wonder how many Cypress alums have gone to the Ivy League. It's not doesn't feel like a traditional route to the Ivy League.
Shot was a preseason first-team All-SEC nominee, and certainly expectations for him were a little bit better than 220 and 4 homers.
Well, he leg injury, knee injury before the season started really got him off to a rough start, kind of in and out of the lineup for a while. They were just using him as a pinch hitter.
And Berkey, you can see on his front leg there, the right leg.
Yeah, plays with a brace on.
Yeah, I mean, that is not your small brace either. I mean, that is a cumbersome device on that right leg. And he's going to pop that one over to Guevara, and that'll be out number 2. Here comes Ben Royo. Popped up and struck out. Kudos to Lampkin for really quieting down this Auburn offense. We've talked about it. Nobody's been hotter offensively coming into this event over the last couple of weeks than Auburn. And just the one run on the board off a home run from Eric Snow.
Well, I mean, we've seen it now back-to-back days. Part of the reason this A&M team has the series wins they have, and they were thought of so highly coming into the season, is because of the first 2 pitchers they can run out there at you. Prager and Lampkin, proven commodities in this league. Obviously were fantastic last year for the Aggies.
That is hit a mile in the air. Bub Terrell charging in, says he has it, and he does, and that'll get the Tigers off the field. 3-1 A&M out in front. Hey, man.
No blanket today? There was a blanket out there yesterday, wasn't there?
Yeah. Just, I think it was an LSU blanket yesterday. Waiting on that home run ball. Boys got to be hit really, really hard to get out there. Chris Rimbert to start things off. Rimbert, the leadoff man for this Auburn offense. Put together 3 hits against Lampkin. One of them left the yard. Tennessee, one of those teams, needs to try to win a couple more games. They're trying to get into that top 16 host site. They are just on the outside looking in right now. You know, there's 4 or 5 teams around the country that really you could throw a hat over trying to sneak into that field. Ole Miss, one of those, got a win last night over Florida. Hunter Elliott looked unbelievable last night.
Starting to really return to his 2022 form.
Yeah. Swing and a miss there. And Tennessee took down Alabama yesterday. Alabama was one of those teams kind of hovering around too, thinking they might be able to sneak into a host site opportunity. Foul back. Georgia Tech right now kind of mans that 16 spot.
Southern Miss is super hot.
Yeah.
They look like they're going to be in their TCU fighting for it. You know, maybe even you could even see, you know, Dallas Baptist. But it is interesting when you start picking apart resumes and what do you value. And we talked about this yesterday. The committee's got all the data, but it is a group full of humans that are eventually going to decide, what do we value the most? What do we think is most important? Is it your high-end wins? Is it your overall body of work? Is it how you finish, right?
Popped him up. That looks like it's going to get out of play, and it will.
And I think I think there's also a piece of the conversation is the SEC looks like they're going to get 6 of the top 8.
Yes.
So does that disqualify them from? I mean, a couple years ago, 2023, they had 8 of the 16. So there's certainly precedent for another. Right now, D1 baseball does not have anybody else other than that top 6 hosting. The question would be, is there going to be room? Is a team here going to play their way into that?
That one is off the plate. Boy, nice at bat by Rembert. On that topic, here's a look at those teams we were talking about. Of course, Tennessee beat Alabama. Ole Miss beat Florida. You wonder what kind of impact that'll have on the big picture, certainly. But those are the numbers for the 4 teams trying to get into that host spot.
I mean, look, very similar metrics. Tennessee has the head-to-head with all 3 others. How much does that carry weight, right? Again, I think normally, it looks like the Aggies are going to go to the pin here. That'll be it for Justin Lampkin, and what a day it was for him.
We'll continue that thought on the other side. Weston Moss, another electric arm coming in for the Aggies, but a great day for Justin Lampkin after 8
all day long, just the 1 solo home run. But he has been really, really good here at the Hoover Met a couple years ago and again today. So 85 pitches. That is his runner on first base, but when you draw it up, if you're Mike Early, that's exactly what you would have hoped for from your veteran left-hander.
And here is Weston Moss, the sophomore, who has pitched a bunch for this team. 45 2/3. He's a guy that's been one of those, if you don't use him, you can start him kind of guys.
Yep.
Can chew up some innings, and it's got electric stuff.
Yeah, no, he has been their guy all year long. He was kind of their Prager Moss. Was their day one formula for a lot of the year, and he was in the middle of a ton of their best performances in conference play.
Guevara fouls that one back.
Fastball, slider, changeup. They run that fastball up to 94, 95 miles an hour.
Bat goes flying. Ball stays in the mitt of Bear Harrison. Everybody's all right. Already seen one broken bat today.
Yeah, that's an embarrassing feeling as a hitter when you get fooled so bad that you lose your bat, but it happens. Kind of the price of doing business.
See? Kent broke his bat on a follow through, or it snapped on the follow through. Kent with a big 3-run homer for Texas A&M back in the 3rd inning. There's a strike.
Front door changeup, not exactly what Weston Moss was trying to do, but that one locked up Ike Irish. Irish already with a knock in this ball game. You see the best of the best in this league. We saw it yesterday with Andrew Fisher. You see it with Ike Irish. Their ability to discern balls and strikes and just really see the ball deep. It's very noticeable.
Irish first team All-SEC this year. He looks at ball 3.
It's also one of my favorite things about this tournament. You get to see all the top prospects in the same event at the same place and really kind of stack them up. That's why the scouts come and flock to this event every year, because they're trying to put their pecking order.
See if they can turn 2 here. That was a long run for Royo at second base. Boy, he had to cover a lot of ground to get to the bag. Kent just kind of was slow playing a little bit, and now Royo a little slow.
You're right. I mean, he's playing Irish kind of towards the 4-hole, but still has to get there on a ground ball. Looks like he's okay. But that was a full throttle cover of second base. Kent gives him a nice soft feed so that he can get there. I don't know if he landed awkwardly but that was pretty athletic play to be running that fast the other direction and still throw it accurately.
2 down in the inning. And here is Cooper McMurray. Cooper has walked and struck out today. Cooper, the redshirt senior out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Smashes that one out to deep left center. Can anybody catch up to it? Yes. Sawyer far, tracking it down on the warning track. That left the bat at 105 miles an hour.
Hang with them, Coop. That one will hurt your feelings. A bomb out to left center field. But, man, how about Sawyer far showing you some range? Not even in your picture at the start of this at-bat, but tracks that one down perfectly. And you know the hurler loves that one. Aggie's still up, too. Like, you know, amongst our crew. Now, out in the, you know, broader world, I don't know. I don't know where I stack up. I need to spread my wings there a little bit. You want to play?
I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, golf didn't work very good for you, so I thought maybe you'd try Connect 4.
I was waiting. I don't know what it was I played yesterday, but it was, I had clubs and a golf ball, but it didn't resemble golf.
I thought you played great.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Here's Terrence Keel. Terrence, an Atlanta boy. His dad, though, big football player, Texas A&M. Played a couple years in the NFL with the Chargers. Out in center field now. Started in right, but with the injury to Jace Laviolette, it was hit by a pitch in the hand. He has moved to center. That one's up and in. Terrence hitting .303 on the year. By the way, we still haven't seen Jace Laviolette back in that dugout since he left to go get that hand checked. As Chris reported earlier, there is an x-ray machine here at this facility.
Yeah, you couldn't tell live whether it hit the hand or the bat. And once we saw it slow, it was like, oh, man, that is not going to be good. And when a man that big and strong is in that much pain, it's pretty worrisome about what the result will be.
I think very telling is the fact that a guy like Jace Laviolette, who this could be his last game in an Aggie uniform, when he says he can't go, he tried to go, he was over there a couple of pitches at first base after he was hit by a pitch, but then he signaled to the dugout he can't go.
Yeah.
That tells me that is a major problem. Keel out to center field. Bristol Carter is there and will make the catch for the first out.
Yeah, he tried to give it a go, went to first base, and then motioned to the dugout. That wasn't going to work, and so they had to make a change. Jamal George in the game for him, but yeah, the Aggies, behind the strength of their pitching, still in good position here for the last third of this ball game as they're trying to stay alive.
Here is Sawyer Farr. That one is fouled back, and I think we just, there you go. That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, you just hate to see it.
And what was going to be a really important summer for him, and draft coming up, and despite some of the numbers that we're not used to seeing from Jay, still going to be one of those top 10 picks perhaps.
Yeah.
Who knows where he would land, but certainly a lofty pick.
Yeah, and I don't, we'll see what the injury is, but I don't think that'll factor into where he ends up falling on draft boards. My guess is people have seen enough of him. He's been an everyday player in this league for 3 years, so my guess is the evaluations are pretty much in. I just hate it for the kid that he doesn't get to finish out with his teammates.
Yeah. Because he's talked about it. I mean, he talked to Chris about it. It's like it's important for him to this time with his teammates, and
you don't get it back.
Yeah.
No matter how much longer he ends up playing this game, and he'll play it for a while, his time in the dugout with your college teammates, especially when you're trying to do something special here at Hoover.
Swing and a miss. Farr goes down. That'll be out number 2. He will end his career, if it is indeed over, as the school's all-time leading home run man, all-time RBI man. And
one of the great careers in Aggie history. Took him farther than any Aggie team has ever been. Part of that great team last year. Yeah, he definitely left his mark on Aggie baseball.
Caden Kent with a home run, a 3-run shot.
Guys, I had that conversation with Jace before the game, actually, with knowing what you had ahead of you this week. Have you allowed yourself to think about whether or not this will be the last couple times you wear this uniform? And he goes, I haven't, but I do know when that time comes, I'll think about how special it was to be a part of such an incredible run last year and what it meant to wear this uniform, but I can't allow myself to go there yet.
Yeah, now I guess, you know, part of his job is keeping the positive vibes in that dugout and seeing if his team can keep playing.
Yeah, now he's got to shift to that gear for sure. Looks like him and Hayden Schott are having a conversation about it there, and just hate it. One of the worst parts about sports is the injury piece.
Fouled straight back. I mentioned this yesterday, but I was over at Texas A&M for a basketball game a couple years ago, and I walk in to watch their fall practice, and within 5 minutes I'm standing there with Coach Schloss down in the third base dugout area, and they're having a scrimmage, and I'm literally there. I'm like 2 minutes, and this guy hits a home run. I think it was over the score, may have hit the scoreboard, and I was like, who in the world? He was a massive human being. I go, who in that? And he just kind of tapped me on the shoulder and said, that's my freshman. And I have not forgotten that moment.
Haven't been out of lineup since.
Caden Kent trying to do some damage. Nobody out. 2-2 pitch on the way. Or 2 outs. Nobody on. And a 2-2 pitch fouled off. "13 home runs and a 3-run shot out in right center." RBI total up to 49 now on the season.
This is what I'm talking about with Caden Kent. The quality of the at-bat. It's just the only term you can think to describe it is professional. It doesn't matter righty, lefty. Like he just really knows how to put together an AB.
Three-two pitch down the line and right. It is just foul by a couple of feet, if that.
It didn't look like Kent thought it was going to be fair, and then all of a sudden the ball straightened out a little bit, missed by a couple feet. The difference between that could have been maybe a triple, but certainly a stand-up double, and having to regroup just a foot or two.
But he is certainly making Carson Myers work. 9th pitch of the at-bat coming up. Another foul ball.
Yeah, 2 dudes here that just don't want to give in. Carson Myers tried the heater, tried the breaking ball, and Caden Kent just on everything.
Cade Kitt wants to take some time here. It's been a long at bat.
Long at bat. He had to kind of leg out a double.
That's right.
Come back. So he wants a breather, a little time to collect himself. Let's see what Auburn does. To me, you know, you kind of have him in swing mode, and it's a really high bat to ball with Kent. Like, this might be a good time to try to climb the ladder.
Kent has fouled off 4 2-strike pitches. Well, the timeout didn't work. Myers wins that battle, and it was a good one, and Myers loves it. Tigers getting off the field. They need some runs, down 3-1.
He didn't need to climb the ladder. How about just paint it on the edge, down and away? A beautiful pitch from Carson Myers. Tigers need some runs.
7:30 Eastern time.
Taking me a while to get used to how long it's taken us to see some of these top seeds.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, where's LSU and Arkansas? And of course, Vanderbilt's coming up tonight. Vanderbilt, what a magical run they went on down the stretch. Huh?
Wow.
3 consecutive home games with walk-off home runs.
That one's lifted out of play. It'll be Lucas Steele to start things off for the Tigers. Then Snow, and then Bub Terrell. So 5, 6, and 7. Auburn with just 3 hits in this one. And I say just 3 hits because when you take their previous 7 games coming into this tournament, they had 101 hits, scored 91 runs, and had a .388 batting average.
Yeah, they have been putting together.
Ooh, that ball smoked off the bat, but nice job by Gavin Cash to hang in there with it. Step on the bag, 1 down.
They've been putting together quality offensive outing after quality offensive outing for weeks now, and the Aggies just had their number. Nice job by Gavin Cash there, preventing extra bases. That ball was hit over 100 miles an hour, saved the double.
Slow roller to third. Hensler up, fires, 2 down.
Oh, he bobbled that catch.
Cash immediately pointed to David Savage, our umpire over there, and said, "I got it."
From our view, his back was to us. I couldn't tell, but it looked like he bobbled the catch. He did. That ball dropped out of his glove.
That's why he's showing it. There it is.
Whoa, you don't see that every day.
Just making things fun over there. 2 down for Bub Terrell, who's 0 for 2. And we're only 17 pitches into Weston Moss on the mound taking over for Lampkin, but you can kind of see he
pretty smooth.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how Mike Early, I mean, nobody's under as much stress as he is from a manager pitching staff standpoint, how him and Jason Kelly choose to handle Weston Moss here, because it's just a 2-run ball game. He's your best bullpen arm. You're probably prone to let him go as long as he can take you, right? By the same token, if you're going to win this thing, you know, you'd love to be able to bring him back if you were able to survive and advance that far, you know, so you're balancing. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't win today.
That's what I mean. It's like your mentality's got to be like all in every game. And hope you get a lead early, a big enough lead to where maybe you can make some of those things like pull him out. But a 3-1 game, you got to ride him, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we know to go from day one to win this thing, somebody's going to have to do something like really special, right? Somebody that hasn't had a great track record is going to have to show up and give you something way out of the norm. But if I were them, I think you let this arm go as long as he can.
93 in there for a strike. Up Terrell over at first base with 2 down. Pops him up out of play. is Justin Lampkin. 5 Ks, 3 walks. The walks jump out after me after watching him pitch in Athens last week and didn't have a single 3-ball account. And walks 3 today. He's got to get it together. Let's go down there and talk to Justin. Ooh, that ball's blistered out to center field. Long run for Keel, but he catches up to it and pounds into that wall. Terrence Keel with a heck of a play, moves from right to center field and came up with a huge catch for the Aggies to keep it at a 3-1 game.
Well, we talked about what would the significance be of Jace Lavalette not being out there in center field. Well, he couldn't have done it any better than this. Gavin Keel ranging, putting his body on the line. What a play by the Aggies center fielder.
The Aggies lead it 3-1, and their star center fielder Jace Lavalette out of this one after being hit by a pitch in the hand. Carson Myers has been fantastic out of the bullpen.
That's 2 innings in a row that Auburn has had a base runner on and hit a ball that looked like it was destined for extra bases, or this game will be locked up. So we talked about the importance of outfield defense in this tournament because of the spacious nature of the Hoover Met, and the Aggies taking away extra bases back-to-back innings to get off the field. A big part of this storyline.
Jamal George hitting for Jace Lavalette. Those aren't any shoes to fill, right? I mean, here, we're going to have you go plug into that 2-hole and fill in for our superstar.
Well, I mean, last year, Caden Kent filled in for Braden Montgomery and
did a nice job.
I don't know that Braden could have done any better.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing about when injuries happen and people get a chance. You never quite know how it's going to play out.
Well, Jamal George draws the walk, and he'll stand at first base with nobody out for Wyatt Hensler, who's looking to avoid a 4th consecutive strikeout. Everett Tiefert out to the mound for the Auburn Tigers to have a discussion.
Going right to the pin.
Myers up to 69 pitches. And they'll go get another lefty.
Cade Fisher.
Yeah, let's go big. So we will update that change when we come back. Cade Fisher, welcome to the ball game. And came back 20-30 minutes later and had that hand all wrapped up. Unfortunate situation, and it doesn't look great. Obviously, we haven't heard exactly what happened, but pictures can tell that story. Meanwhile, Auburn making a change on the mound. Carson Myers did a heck of a job out on the bump in relief of Cam Tilley. And now they turn it over to Cade Fisher. 2 years at Florida before coming to Auburn this year. 6'3", 200-pounder out of Dalton, Georgia. It's his 12th appearance of the year. 42 strikeouts and 33 2/3.
He'd been a starter. Was a starter most of last year in Florida. Came over to help solidify their rotation, and been kind of up and down for Fisher. He's had some moments, had some struggles. Not too dissimilar from his last year at Florida.
Well, he was a freshman All-American at Florida, was Cade Fisher. Had a 3 ERA, went 6-0 with the Gators. That ball is laced, base hit off the bat of Hensler. First and second. That was up over 100 miles as well, 103. But last year was disappointment for Cade Fisher at Florida.
Fastball up in the zone. Hensler's already struck out 3 times in this ball game, so you know he was anxious to let it rip, and he just gets on top of that one, hooks it in the 6-hole. And the Aggies looking for some insurance here. Up 2, and now 2 runners on, nobody out here in the top of the 8th.
And Fisher will face Gavin Cash, who's 0 for 3 today. He lays down a bunt, or actually pops up a bunt. That was a gift for sure, and Auburn will take it.
Well, I don't know how many times Gavin Cash has won in his life. My guess, not a ton. But I can see where Mike Early's coming from. It hasn't been great at bats, hasn't been a great season. So first and second, just looking for any kind of insurance. And that was, we caught a flyer on that one, Dave. That ball almost got over Fisher's head. He struck it so solidly.
And now Bear Harrison. Bear had a couple of home runs last week in Texas A&M's trip to Athens. By the way, they haven't even gone home yet. They just stayed on the road. Came over to Hoover on Sunday from Athens. Swing and a miss, 1-1 the count. Boy, Cade, there's nothing. I mean, when you watch Cade Fisher pitch, and we have over the last couple of years, I mean, there's a lot to like, but the numbers last year just kind of jump at you with an ERA up over 7 with the Gators. Went 4-3 overall and threw a bunch of innings, 60 innings on the year. Kind of dialed it back this year with Auburn.
Well, when he's good, he gets what he just got right there was just some chase above the belt. But, you know, it's a frame that when you saw him as a freshman, it just felt like, oh, man, this dude's going to end up throwing 94, 96 miles an hour. And for whatever reason, over the last couple years in college, the velocity just hasn't jumped. That right there is 89 miles an hour. It just hasn't made that next step that he thought he was going to take. And because of that, this stuff has just been a little light, which puts a premium on command and changing speeds, and so your margin for error is very small.
Harrison out to center field. Ball is caught there. And Jamal George will stay at second as Bristol Carter gets it in a hurry.
Well, you don't get the bunt down, right? You get the bunt down, runners at third base, fly ball to center field, you're up 4-1, which is what Mike Early's playing for there with Weston Moss in the game, just trying to get a little more insurance. But instead, that fly ball doesn't do you much good. And now the Aggies need a 2-out hit.
Michael Early going to call an offensive timeout here and bring his troops in. A&M 0 for 7 with 2 outs today. And while we got a second, don't forget Sunday night the Rally Cap crew will have a jam-packed show. They'll break down SEC baseball tournament championship game, the softball super regionals. They'll also preview both the women's College World Series and the NCAA baseball regionals. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. And don't forget, Monday at noon on ESPN2, we'll also have the NCAA baseball selection show for you.
Yeah, don't forget that.
And then you'll be on right after that to kind of break down all the regionals, right?
To break it down, cover up all KP's mistakes. That's exactly why they had me there.
Didn't KP beat you in a round of golf with flip-flops?
What does that have to do with anything, Dave?
Because you just took a shot at him, and I just feel like I need to defend him in some capacity. He can't defend himself, so I'm here.
He's quite capable of defending himself.
Yeah, that he is. I am well aware.
Yes.
So it looks like Blake Benderup is going to grab a bat and pinch hit here for the Aggies. Blake, a .232 hitter, 8 home runs on the year, 27 runs batted in, and Everett Teaford coming out to the mound and see what Auburn wants to do in response to the pinch hitter. Doesn't look like there's a righty up.
This is a strategy conversation, it looks like. How do we want to pitch Bender up? Just make sure everybody, again, Auburn calls their own pitches. Their battery calls their own pitches. So this is even probably more important than every staff in the league loves to go out there and talk execution and game plan. But when you're allowing your battery to call the pitches, and you get a pinch hitter, it's even more important to go out there and probably unpack things.
Benderup, 189 hitter with 2 outs. That's the situation here, but 2 are on in a 3-1 game. Top of the 8th inning. Throw back to first. 1-0 on Binderup. There's a nice pitch, even at 1-1. Fisher came out of high school as one of the most heralded pitchers in the country. Kevin O'Sullivan able to land him for a couple of years. Swing and a miss there.
Again, that's what you get with Fisher. There's some swing and miss qualities to the fastball. See that fastball right down Broadway, and Binderup comes up empty.
Here's the 1-2. Got him on a half swing. Good job by Cade Fisher to get out of that jam. Aggies will leave a couple of runners. Auburn down 3-1, heading to the bottom of the 8th. Weston Moss pitching for the Aggies right now, and he'll face Cade Ballou, who's going to get an at-bat. Cade Ballou, the sophomore from right there in Auburn, Alabama. .279 average, 5 homers, and 20 runs batted in. He's hitting for Bristol Carter in that 9 spot. Fouled straight back.
They got high hopes for Ballou. They think he's got a chance to be a real impact player. Dealing with kind of a foot injury, heel injury of some sort, so that he hasn't been out there quite as much as he normally would. But late in the ball game, perfect time to use him here, see if they can get something going.
Cade has reached base in 58 of the last 62 games he's played. Of course, a great, just emotional story at the beginning of this year. Hit a solo home run on opening night, the day that his mother Stacy passed away after a long battle with cancer, and comes up here in a pitch hit roll and has a base hit.
What an at-bat.
It didn't take long for him to make an impact.
No, that's exactly what Butch Thompson had in mind. Four-seamer up and away, control the barrel. All right, you got to be able to handle the bat at the top of the zone in the modern game. So many guys like to climb the ladder to put hitters away, and that was a really nice flat swing.
Rembert trying to lay a bunt down. Rembert 0 for 2 today, top of the lineup. Trying to bunt for a base hit there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Now he's behind 0-1. Rembert, as a freshman, leading this team in batting average.
Been a heck of a freshman year, no doubt about it. We talked about the freshman group in general for Auburn, but Rembert has really put together a heck of a season.
Right back to Moss. He's going to go to second. Little tie up out there as both Royo and Kent were on top of the bag, and that may have cost him an opportunity for the double play.
Yeah, I don't know if they were going to throw Rembert out there, but certainly some miscommunication as normally this is the shortstop's ball, unless you're in some sort of an extreme pull position, but both of these guys meet at the same time. Kent not happy about it, and Ballou didn't do anything wrong. He slid right into the base. It's just the nature of the timing of that caused the contact. This communication look there with the Aggies. Aggies defense.
Eric Guevara is 0 for 3. Pop up, fly out, and a strikeout, and now he gets his first base hit through the left side. So now Auburn's wheeling and dealing with 2 on and 1 out. And here comes your guy, Ike Irish.
It looks like he's a lot of people's here guy. We gotta. Is that the War Eagle do? Is that what they do during the football games? Well, Ike has brought them to their feet.
Michael Early out of that dugout. See if he wants to go get a lefty. And he's going to make a change. Weston Moss telling his boys to go get him. Caden Wilson.
First home run Doyle had given up against the left-handed hitter all year long. So Ike Irish has had plenty of success left on left, and now he draws Caden Wilson, who is the best left-hander out of this Texas A&M bullpen, and a really big moment here, Dave.
Wilson with a 4.29 ERA, 28 strikeouts and 21 winning innings for the sophomore lefty. And this will be probably the biggest at-bat, the biggest moment for Caden Wilson this season against a guy that just destroyed SEC pitching this year. Ike Irish hit .398 against the league, slugged at .852, 13 homers against SEC pitching. That is not a joke.
No, he was at his best against league play, and the fans are fully engaged for this at bat.
Irish hit .450, has hit .450 in the month of May. 2 on in a 2-run game here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And he looks at strike 1.
Wilson going to go fastball slider to left-handers. The fastball is the pitch that gets the most swing and miss.
Boy, and Irish was upset that that was a strike. You saw him shaking his head. He just called time.
Going to talk to another pretty good left-handed hitter that played on the Plains. Gabe Gross and Ike Irish, 2 of the best to ever wear that uniform. And now they had talked about the game plan. Now they're going back over it.
But watch Ike Irish after this pitch.
First pitch breaking ball, and he thought it was down, call didn't go his way, and he needed a little kind of hug from his hitting coach after that.
Hit the reset button.
It happens.
Caden Wilson out in front, 0-1. And he went, now he's behind 0-2.
And he's not real happy. First pitch break ball that I thought was a strike, by the way, and now a check swing that I think he went. So you may not like it, but 2 50-50 calls go against you. Let's see what Ike Irish can do here in an 0-2 count. It's a good take. Again, Caden Wilson, it's primarily a 2-pitch mix versus left-handers. Well, he's got 94, 95 in there when he needs it. 3 straight breaking balls to start the AB.
Ground ball. Can they turn 2 here? Kent's throw, safe at first. But 2 outs in the inning, and Auburn will have him first and third.
What's the call here?
Did we get it?
Runner interference?
Yeah, out at second base, apparently so. JJ January out there making the call, and here comes Butch Thompson. You can almost see the path of the slide out there in the dirt.
Remember, you get a slide. Oh, yeah, he's way out of the baseline. And he doesn't have to make contact, and it doesn't have to affect whether the guy was out or not.
Auburn is challenging the forced play slide rule at second base.
I think JJ's got this one right.
Yeah, this won't take long. I get it. You want to help your teammate, but it ends up costing you because Irish had beat it.
You got to go directly into the bag. He's not even close.
He's not close. No. That's great call by JJ January. All over it right there. Like the rule or not, that's the rule.
Yeah.
After review, the runner slid into the restricted area. This is an NCAA safety rule. By rule, the runner is out for the infraction and the batter runner is out. Auburn loses this challenge.
Fantastic description of the rule, by the way.
JJ,
well
we should
done.
get him a microphone all the time.
Yes.
JJ. But Auburn with just an awesome opportunity. Let it go right through their fingertips.
Yeah, and again, it comes from the place of hustle, but you aren't allowed to do that anymore. Aggies get off the field with a 2-run lead intact.
Regions Bank. Boy, Auburn with a golden opportunity to close the gap, tie it up, or take the lead in the bottom half of the 8th. But the Aggies found a way to get off the field and retain the 2-run advantage as we move to the 9th inning. Ben Royo to start things off. Cade Fisher still on the mound for the Auburn Tigers. Royo 0 for 3 today. Well, that's got to be deflating if you're Auburn.
Yeah, and again, I love the heart of what Guevara's doing, but it's just it's a mistake, especially as long as that rule has been in place there.
Yeah.
It's just, I would call that an unforced error. Like I love that you're trying to hustle your way into helping your teammate out, but it ends up being a risk not worth taking.
That one's way off the mark. But even if you just look at the slide path, I mean, there it is.
Yeah, it's clear. JJ January's probably had some tough ones of those. That one wasn't.
Yeah.
That was obvious.
Fouled straight back. Oh, it's just, I was about to make my second pick of the year.
Oh, goodness. And one more look at this slide, and he is way outside the base. You have to slide directly into it. That was an old school baseball play right there.
Called strike 3. Royal back to the dugout. He's now 0 for 4, 1 down. Here comes Terrence Keel, the second. Terrence 1 for 3 today. He looks at a strike. Boy, it just sounds like maybe it's the mitt back there that Freilic's wearing, but it sounds like Fisher's throwing it harder than 88. He's ahead 0-2.
Maybe your sound effects are off. Maybe our sound quality is just that good.
I like it. I mean, some 88 with heart. In this day and age, you don't see much of that anymore.
Lefties are always allowed to break the rules.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back Ks for Cade Fisher.
Stuff definitely has some carry to it today, no doubt about it. Having a lot of success with this heater And that's the thing with Fisher from the first day we've seen him. The fastball always played above the velo readings.
Fisher holds the Georgia high school record for career ERA, .71. He went 17-1 with 300 strikeouts in 150 innings in his high school career. He averaged about 17 strikeouts per 9 innings. He came out of the state of Georgia as a top 5 left-handed pitcher and top 10 in the country as a lefty. Far 0 for 2. And he's behind 1-2.
Well, the bullpen from Auburn has done all they could possibly do. 3-run homer from Caden Kent in the 3rd. And that was off the starter Cam Tilley. And since then, Carson Myers, Cade Fisher thrown up nothing but zeros.
Fouled out of play. Aggies still got to get 3 outs, though.
Yeah, that's right. And the Auburn offense has started to put together a little life the last couple ABs.
Oh, just off the plate. That one's up. So Far draws the walk. After back-to-back strikeouts, 2-out walk. And that'll get it back to the top of the lineup. And Caden Kent, who already has one Weaver 3-run home run.
Oh, an homage to Big Ben.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the ball game right here, folks. Cam Tilley makes a pretty good pitch with a split finger, but Caden Kent seeing the ball well, makes a fantastic move to go down there and cover it. I was impressed by the fact that he was able to run that thing out of here. This is a big yard, and that was not a great pitch to hit. Caden Kent continuing to have a really impressive junior season for the Aggies.
That one gets away from Freilich. Our game 2, Tennessee and Texas, coming up after this one. It will start at the top of the hour, 3 o'clock Central Time. 4 o'clock Eastern Time will be first pitch for Tennessee and Texas. So normally there's like a 35-minute window. We're going to get a few extra minutes and get that one started because the schedule kind of got all wonky after first night, pushed the game back. So this game was an additional game starting at 11 local time today. So we will start that Texas game right on the top of the hour at 3 o'clock local here in Hoover.
Should be a good one.
Oh, I'm excited.
This has been a good one. Not a ton of offense, just 9 hits, but
a lot of baseball going on. You know what I mean? A lot of decisions being made, plays being made.
Some really nice outfield play in this game.
That one's lifted high in the air out to right. Catch made there by Irish. So the Tigers, one last chance with McMurray, Steele, and Snow. 4, 5, and 6. Can they close the gap? It's 3-1 A&M. Dog down to first, and after a couple of pitches, signaled to the dugout that he just couldn't go. Left the field, went back to the X-ray area, and no word yet on the official diagnosis of that injury, but clearly there is a problem there.
Yeah, when you're wearing a cast, that's never a great sign.
Auburn had a walk-off win versus South Carolina earlier this month. They won that one 11-10 over the Gamecocks. As Cooper McMurray trying to get things started. Auburn looking for just their second win of the year after trailing after 8 innings. McMurray 0 for 2 today, 330 on the year with 14 homers. And it's 0-2. Can the Aggies live to play another day?
So far, so good. 3 big outs left.
Just off the plate. Boy, Harrison tried to frame that one up nicely for home plate umpire Brandon Cooper. Ground ball to the right side. Arroyo fields and throws, and that'll be the first out.
Well, you would never have guessed this Auburn team would come here and be held to 1 run, but they're 2 outs away from a performance they haven't seen around here in a while, as hot as they've been this month.
Haven't won this event since 1998. Haven't finished better than 5th since 2010, but came in red hot offensively. And pitching certainly wasn't the issue today. They certainly pitched well enough to win this one.
Yes.
Lucas Steele looking for his first hit. That one's up and away. It's now 2-0. High in the air, deep to left field. That ball is out of here. Home run, Lucas Steele, number 8. And we got ourselves a 1-run game.
All right. Well, there's the offense that the Auburn Tigers have been featuring here over the last few weekends. Lucas Steele gets loose on one, and that was a no-doubter. Day where the wind's kind of blowing left to right. He backspins this one up into the jet stream, and this ball just sailed out of here. I thought maybe the wind would negatively affect that ball, but not at all.
And here is Eric Snow, and he already has left the yard today. Snow homered back in the 5th inning. His 7th of the season. And it's 0-2. All 5 of our runs today have come off of home runs. And in with that 3-run shot by Kenton and a couple of solo shots by Auburn.
Last 3 outs. There's just something different about the last 3 outs.
2-2. Off the end of the bat, we'll do it again.
Well, obviously we're one swing of the bat away from this game being tied up, and the dude up there who's clearly seeing it well today has 2 of Auburn's 6 hits, including a home run. But this has got all the makings here. Snow looks like he's really seeing the ball well, and Wilson's going to have to make his best pitch.
Out to center field. Terrence Keel has a read on it, makes the catch, 2 down.
Well done. Fastball at the top of the zone, looked like it got him a little towards the label. Can of corn to center field, and now the Aggies one pitch away from hanging around another day.
Derek Fabian going to grab a bat. The Auburn shortstop did not get the start today, but will grab a bat here in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. A .243 hitter. He's gone yard 5 times for the senior out of Ocala, Florida. The one-time Florida Gator. Michael Early going to make a change and go back to the bullpen. But Caden Wilson, an inning and a third, gave up that home run. 3-2 ball game. We'll update the change when we come back. Texas A&M, really their only hope to get to the NCAA tournament is to get to the championship game at the bare minimum. Probably need to win it. Trying to do that here today. When you look at those numbers, they are 1 out away from advancing here and winning for the 2nd time at the SEC tournament.
And if they win, they stay alive to face LSU on Friday. Is that right?
7:30.
Actually, you hang around a little bit longer, right? You just got to survive and advance. Just hang around. Fresh Corn, 22nd appearance on the year. A fastball that he'll run it up there to 96 miles an hour. And a right-on-right matchup here to try to keep the Aggies tournament chances alive.
Fresh Corn pitched yesterday against Mississippi State, inning and 2/3, no hits, 1 strikeout, no walks. Looked very good, and we'll try to get this one over with. That ball's hit out into left, and this should do it. The catch is made out there by Sawyer Farr, and Texas A&M is staying alive for another day. They win it 3-2 over the Auburn Tigers.
Well, you'd like to call it an upset, Dave, but it really isn't when you look at the Aggies' resume. They've been knocking off some of the best teams in the league all year long.